After the storms. The ride to the airport left me nauseous. Everyone on board the bus smelled like rotten garlic mixed into dumpster egg salad. I had to catch a later plane with my flexi ticket, which allowed me to do so. This was because I hurled up breakfast and lunch from the stink and from the stress of potentially being devoured alive by the strange folks who inhabited this strange place. My hearing aid batteries were dead, and I wasn't able to buy new ones until I landed back home in Nashville. We had a rocky landing because of a solar flare wiped out the grid. Planes fell from the sky. The military was called in just because of a previous imminent nuclear threat of war. This got delayed because of the electric grid being wiped clean by solar flares. Also, nobody, including the military, could go home or travel by car, bus, train, and forget planes. I couldn't hear anything that well, but I had been informed of everything by a very loud individual from Oregon who had sat next to me during our rocky landing. Thank God for that. I couldn't count on anyone to call an interpreter for me, and having grown up near Nashville, I knew how to walk the 25 miles towards my house. There, I was hoping my wife had waited to turn on the backup generator until after the solar storm. Now it's late, 4 a.m. to be exact. I've been walking for 8 hours from Nashville. I had about 2 more hours left to walk. Almost there, I thought. I was really anxious to see my wife again. I have to tell her everything I saw while abroad in the Western Territories. She had wanted to come with me, but I told her that I was to be busy the entire time with work. I really regretted this decision at first. My job as an archivist was to collect as many USB drives from as many rare collections as possible. This obviously ended up badly as the great demonstration took place 2 states over unannounced as soon as I had landed in Oregon. So many innocent lives lost had shocked many institutions into reserving their files or shutting down their operations to 2 hours a day. My hotel closed down and I had to sleep at a shelter. The shelter closed down after a strange virus started annihilating mammals of all kinds, oddly enough in just the metropolitan areas. I had ventured through a forest for a week until I found an old town which acted as a sanctuary for survivors like myself. There was a deaf-run cafe who had a compassionate barista, and a decent change in climate had kept me safe for a while until I was finally forced out of the town along with many of the folks who helped me out. Very strange beings had come to Earth, and no news at all had been reported on it. Finally, I made my way to the airport where surprisingly not many people had been departing the territory. On the way here, it seemed as if I have been through enough apocalyptic situations, but as you now know, I had yet more to overcome. Thankfully, Tennessee had lots of grass and forests, the only thing that strange virus hated. I had yet to encounter any of those strange beings I encountered in Oregon. Perhaps the climate was too humid here for them. They were reptilian and seemed to be masters of disguise as they hid under real human skins. My hour and 40 minutes had been up as I neared the steep hill my house was on in Ashland City. We lived deep in the forest of the outskirts of town. We had everything we could possibly need in case of the apocalypse, though nobody could really prepare for the magnitude of problems the world was now facing. We had come from families of privilege. We had invested our money into our home and things needed for such times. We still had plenty of money left, but the stock market had crashed before any of these occurrences took place. Our wealth was purely now in resources. Money meant nothing anymore. I had come to the door of our home. Everything was dark, inside and out, minus the waves of auroras swirling in the sky. She was still sleeping, I had hoped. I turned my key in the knob and stepped into the dark house, which had been a bit chilly but manageable with layers of clothes and blankets. I crept towards our bedroom when suddenly came a loud gunshot, specifically from our .50 caliber muzzle loader. It blew a hole in the door right next to my head. "Anita! Darling, it's me, Hank!" I shouted and took cover. The antique musket had fallen to the floor. She sobbed many tears into my neck as we held each other close after a month and a half of separation. I undid her blouse to see if her shoulder had been bruised from recoil. "Nice shot, babe. Good thing it wasn't good enough, though. Let me get you an ice pack." I had forgotten something very important. The electricity is out. Before it did, there was all these catastrophic news of wars, horrid parasites and viruses, and talk of a solar storm. I had no clue what to do. She turned to the side and vomited. "Honey?" I wondered if she had gotten sick. "Yeah, there's something I need to tell you." She held my hand and pulled me closer so I could hear her without her needing to raise her voice, as my hearing aids were now useless, battery or not. "Before you left, when we had sex." She was worried the news would upset me. "You're pregnant?" I smiled. This brought a huge grin to her face when she answered yes. We celebrated by candlelight, cuddling into the abysmal morning, and songbirds began to sing with the sunrise. It was good news, yet troubling in the circumstances. We figured we would get through this if we could get through everything else. "Oh, Hank," she skirted around, so we were face to face while we were spooning. "Yes?" I was almost passing out of sleep. "I was so worried you were dead. I'm right here, babe." "Yeah." And she buried her head into my chest, and soon she and I slept till midday. The solar activity had kept glowing about, and we went down to the river with some nets. A couple neighbors were there already and shared with us some of their catfish. We shared some bullets and nets in exchange. Life was to always be filled with problems, but we had seemed to be lucky in spite of it all. In spite of our own selves, we tended to weather every storm. The day our luck ran out was one I hoped to postpone as much as possible. For now, I had Anita to take care of, and soon Henry Jr.